Namaste and Hari Om. I welcome you to today's episode of Know Your Dharma program with your host Kishore Trivedi. This podcast is conducted with the blessings of the Hindu Society of North Carolina and Bharat Media, Bharat TV. Today, we have one of my grandsons, Ishaan, as a guest, conversing with me about some aspects of Hindu Dharma. But let us first start with the prayer, Ishaan, shall we?
Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. O Bhagwan Sri Ganesh, of large body, curved trunk, with the brilliance of 10 million suns, please make all my undertakings free of obstacles, always.
Hari Om, Ishaan. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hari Om, everyone. My name is Ishaan. Nana, you started the dialogue with a beautiful greeting. Can you please explain the meaning of this greeting?
Well, yes, indeed. Namaste is the greeting that I started with. Namaste is a Sanskrit compound word that is used as a greeting. And the two words in the compound word are namaha and te. First word namaha says that I bow down, and te says to you. So literally, the meaning of this greeting namaste is I bow down or I salute you. But our scriptures tell us that there is divinity in both the individuals greeting each other. Hence, a deeper meaning of this greeting namaste is that divinity within me salutes the divinity within you, or greets the divinity within you.
Nana, your personal favorite greeting is Hari Om. Can you please explain its meaning?
Yes, indeed, Ishaan. In fact, that was the second greeting that I start this podcast with. And it's so, I like it so much that many people in the temple used to call me Hari Om Uncle. Many kids used to call me Hari Om Uncle. Ishaan, our scriptures tell us that divinity is not just confined between you and I, but the divine pervades all beings and even all things. All these around us is nothing but divine. This omnipresence, also called immanence of the divine, is indicated by the word Hari in the greeting Hari Om. Why? This is because Hari is another name of Bhagwan Vishnu, and the word Vishnu, by definition, is that which pervades each and everything in the universe. There is not an atom in the universe where Hari is not. Thus, in this context, then, the spiritual growth equates to enlarging your circle of oneness. In the beginning, starting with you yourself, you are selfish. And then when you get married, your circle of oneness enlarges to you and your wife. As you get children, your circle of oneness enlarges to include your children as well. And as you get older, more mature, your circle of oneness should encompass more and more people, eventually including everybody in the universe, everybody and everything in the universe. So the spiritual perfection in this context should lead to a state where you see, and everywhere you see nothing but God, in everyone and everything. So to me, as a scientist, this is the most beautiful concept there is in the universe. And in fact, the very first line of the very first mantra of Upanishad, called Ish Upanishad, defines this all-pervading divine as Ish or Ishwar. And so we can sing it.
Om Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatakin jagatyam jagat tena takyena bunjita magridakasya sviddanam.
So the meaning of this verse, the first line of this verse, is that all this, whatever moves in this universe and that which even does not move, is pervaded by the Supreme. And that name of the Supreme given in the scriptures is Ishwar or Ish. An analogy might help here. Consider different ornaments made of gold. They may have different shapes, different sizes, different names, different forms, earrings, chain, ring, etc., etc. Yet in a sense, they are nothing but gold. Similarly, all things and beings are in a sense nothing but Ishwar. That's the idea. And the same idea is expressed in many, many verses of Bhagavad Gita, as well as all the other scriptures. This is a central theme running through, in some sense, most of the scriptures. Now, the second word in the greeting Hari Om is Om. And Om is a very deep thing. Om indicates Brahman. Brahman is the transcendental reality, that which is that which never ceases to be. So Brahman was there when universe was not there. Brahman is there when universe is there. Brahman will be there when universe is not there. Universe came out of Brahman, it will get absorbed in Brahman. And Om is also a symbol for Hinduism. Om is also considered the very first thing that originated as a primeval sound, as they call it. It is also interesting to note that Brahman, word Brahman, is a neuter gender. At that level, it doesn't make any sense to talk about male god or female god. And sometimes Brahman is referred to as Parabrahma or just Brahma. So if you put these two together, Hari and Om, then the greeting Hari Om simply says that God is immanent or all-pervading, omnipresent, and transcendent. Transcendent means beyond senses, beyond mind, beyond intellect. In fact, these two notions of God are considered summum bonum, or the essence, the essence of Hinduism. Everything else is simply commentary, you might say. And I also asked Swami Viditatmananji one day, and he explained to me that Brahman and Ishwar are two sides of the same coin.
But Nana, you describe the notion of God in this way while when we go to any temple, we may see different murtis. Can you please expound on this topic?
Indeed, indeed. So yes, our mandirs have many different murtis, representations, and therefore many people who don't understand call Hinduism as polytheistic, meaning one with many gods. But as I just mentioned, the fundamental position of Hinduism is that God is both immanent and transcendent. If you just take the notion of immanence, all-pervading notion of God, then the classification of such a point of view or religion is called pantheism. But with the notion of transcendence added to immanence, this is called pantheism. So one can say that, another view was polytheism. And actually there is a strain of Hinduism where you can be an atheist and still yourself be Hindu. So Hinduism can be called atheism, polytheism, pantheism, pantheism. It's none of the above, all of the above. Or you can say that it is very difficult to pigeonhole Hinduism into one of these neat categories. But if you must choose a category, there is a relatively new category that I recently heard known as pluriform monotheism. So Hinduism can be called pluriform monotheism, which is defined as one God worshipped through many different forms. So these different forms that we see of the murtis that we see in the temple are different forms of the same ultimate being. And in fact, Swami Dayanand Saraswati of Arsha Vidya Gurukulam says that it is not a question of one God or many gods. As per our scriptures, there is only God. There is nothing else but God all around. So it's a question of only God. Everything else does not have any independent existence except God. Much like different gold ornaments that we talked about, they have different names and forms, but in reality, they don't have any existence other than gold. Now, it is true that very few people can worship this abstract notion of Ishwar, and even fewer people are capable of meditating on the formless transcendental reality, which we call Brahman. So we need some concrete forms to worship, adore, and meditate upon in our attempt to reach the formless divine. This is why we have many forms. And many forms are provided because each one can choose their own as per their attitude, aptitude, liking, and so on. So these different forms are not different gods, but represent different aspects of the same attributeless formless Brahman. So to make it easier, to give an example, I am perceived differently by different people. So when I go to the office, I'm a professor, PhD advisor, teacher, mentor, etc. While I come home, I am a husband, I'm a father, brother, grandfather, etc. Right? It's the same being, but seen differently in different roles. These different murtis in the temples are not different gods, but different ways of visualizing the formless infinite. I can easily corroborate these facts by quoting many verses from the scriptures where it talks about, to Ganesh, it says, you are Brahma, you are Vishnu, you are Shiva, etc. So they emphasize over and over again that they're not different. They are simply different forms of the same being.
Thanks for answering my basic questions, Nana.
Ishaan, thanks very much for your questions. And now let us conclude with very nice prayer.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukhabhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Here's the meaning. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from illness, may all see what is auspicious, may no one suffer. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Notice that in this particular beautiful prayer, the word survey is used. And survey, the meaning of the word survey is all, without any restrictions, without any qualification. It wishes to for everyone, everywhere to be happy. And the reason for saying peace 3 times may be a subject of another future conversation. Hari Om and Namaste to everyone.